The practice of sacred reading, or Lectio Divina, is a practice that comes to us through the Western monastic tradition. It's a way of allowing us to encounter Scripture and listen deeply to Scripture using not only our analytical capabilities, but also all the other means of discerning truth, including our memory, our imagination, and bringing all of those capacities to bear on our encounter with Scripture in order to allow the living voice of the Word to speak through the words of the text that is before us, in the same way that a light shines through a stained glass window. So we're listening for some living word communicating itself to us through the texts that we are praying with. And there are said to be 4 stages in this practice of Lectio Divina, not meant to be walked through rigidly, but to be held flexibly, different aspects. The first being Lectio, that is, reading. So we actually read the text, and we read it aloud in order to bring online those parts of our mind and of our heart that are connected with memory, with imagination, rather than reading with the eye, which connects us more powerfully with the thinking, analytical mind. So we're reading the text out loud, and we're noticing some word or phrase that somehow stirs something in us. And when that word then becomes a guide for us in a process of inquiry. What is this word? What is it that it's stirring in me? What is it that it has perhaps to say to me? And so this brings us to our second stage, which is Meditatio, or a very conscious, deliberate reflection on the reading, bringing all that we know from our studies, whatever that may be, but also noticing if it reminds us, if an image stands out that reminds us of other passages of Scripture, or a poem, or something we've read, or something we've experienced, and letting our whole capacities enter into that inquiry. What is this? What is this? What is speaking to me? What is stirring in me? Then we move into a third stage, which is the oratio, that is the prayer. And there we step out of our reflections to notice if there are any feelings moving in our heart. And we rest in those feelings, not the shallow emotions that center in ourself, what we like, what we dislike, but deeper feelings that are shared with God, with others in the world. And those feelings we can open up to God in prayer. And it's a way of now connecting us with the source of what is speaking to us in that direct way. It's said in the Meditatio, we're thinking ourselves full, and in the oratio, we're praying ourselves empty, just opening whatever is there to God. And that leads us to our fourth stage, with this lifting up of a prayer, the feeling, whatever it may be, whether it's a prayer of supplication with feelings of grief or of anger or of fear. We may lift that prayer up, or if there are feelings of peace or of joy or of liberation, we're going to lift up that joy, and just dwelling in those deep feelings of joy or of sorrow, we're going to open up, and that connection to God will perhaps yield us that fourth stage, the contemplatio, the simple resting in the presence of God. And we may think of this even in that sense of aspiring to rest in the heart and to open the heart to the Spirit, as we do in centering prayer. Reading, reflecting, praying, resting. That's Lectio Divina.